Hey everyone, welcome to the 3994 podcast. Today we're sitting down with someone who has literally shaped the way golfers think about their game. And lucky for us, he calls Savannah home. My guest today is a British PGA member, a Golf Magazine Top 100 teaching professional, and a man with a story that honestly could be its own podcast, if I could just convince him to do one. He was born in Northern Ireland, coached royalty in Europe, developed PGA Tour winners, and probably not winners, huh?
Yeah.
Winners. Wow. And has now landed in the gold chair. But first, a huge thank you to our episode sponsors. Today is Hair by Morgan, so thank you to Morgan. We'll have her info in the show notes. This episode is also brought to you by some of the best businesses right here in Northwest Missouri. Gina's Cafe and Catering. Gina Calderwood, thank you. Whether it's a sit-down lunch or a catered event, Gina brings the flavor and the heart, so go check them out. Of course, fried chicken on Monday nights. Greater Than Financial, because your financial future, of course, deserves more than good intentions. Wakefield Hair. Greater Than Financial, here to help you get there. And Scooter's Coffee, because honestly, no good conversation starts without a great cup of coffee, and I spilled it all over myself this morning. Gerald McCullagh, welcome to the 3994.
Yeah, delighted to be here.
So one story that stopped me cold in my tracks when I heard it, the Titanic. Gerald, your grandfather worked on the Titanic.
My grandfather, John Lundy, was his name, worked on the Titanic. He owned a small plumbing company in Belfast. I think there was 3 people, and they were brought in to do a lot of the plumbing on the Titanic.
What were his stories like?
Well, growing up in Northern Ireland, a lot of the stories that were told were sectarian stories. They didn't want Catholic workers working on the Titanic ship. So a lot of times my grandfather Lundy would say, Gerald, a couple of times I had to leave the ship because of violence that was happening. And that's a part of the Titanic story that nobody really talks about. You know, I was at the Harry Duncan Museum,
Yes.
A wonderful talk from a lady there, I forget her name, and talking about the Titanic. She was very well informed.
Was that Kathy?
Kathy.
We need to have her on the podcast.
Yeah, no, she's absolutely brilliant and had a lot of great stories and so forth. But the hard part of it is, as I said, I grew up in a very sectarian community where, you know, Catholics and Protestants were at odds, and all of a sudden, you know, we had the Troubles or the Civil War, whatever you want to call them. So myself and my 4 sisters left Northern Ireland. My mother and father stayed there, and my 4 sisters, is kind of interesting. One lived in Marbella, Spain. The other lived in Cork, Ireland. The other one lived in London, England. I lived in Vienna, and my other sister married a chap from Minnesota, and that's all. We all arrived here.
Unbelievable. And then you ended up in Minnesota.
I did indeed. Like. Well, it's the old Irish saying, a family that stays together prays, or prays together stays together. That's true. So we all ended up, all 5 of us, and had a wonderful career, both in Europe and in Minnesota.
Okay, we are going to get to that, because I am so excited to talk to you today. Again, Thank you for coming.
Not at all. My pleasure.
One of the questions, let's harken back to the Titanic.
Yeah.
Did he ever talk about when the ship went down? Was he still alive then?
Oh yeah, he was still alive, absolutely. He really didn't. I think a lot of people there was great shame brought to all the workers that worked on it, that, you know, they developed the first 4-funnel ship in the world, a luxury ship that no one had ever seen before. But again, you know, the cost cutting on it was incredible to get it finished and sent to sea. And so I think, to be perfectly honest, he'd just tell the stories about what was going on when he was building it, but sort of a little bit of shame at what happened to the ship after it sunk. So he didn't really talk much about that.
And like you said, that's something the workers, you don't really learn a lot about the sectarianism that happened during that time.
It was terrible.
But is that a family history story that defined his life? and then really has stayed with you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when you're sitting there with your grandfather and he's telling you these different stories about what was going on, you'd say, oh my goodness, I didn't know that happened. So it was right from the horse's mouth. He worked there, he knew what was happening, and so forth.
Incredible. Okay, when did golf enter the picture? You're in Ireland. Were you just a lad?
I was a wee lad. I lived 50 yards from the fifth hole at Chandon Park Golf Club in Northern Ireland.
Which I know nothing.
Okay.
So tell me, is that amazing?
It is. I could walk out of my front door and there was a little gate to the side of the golf course. I'd walk through the gate and go to the practice ground. So since I've been a young boy, I've been in love with golf. I mean, I obviously wasn't the best student at school because my thoughts were always, I wanted to be a golf professional. And so I achieved that at an early age and served an assistantship at one of the golf clubs, Malone Golf Club. They call it the Augusta of Ireland. And it's a magnificent old golf club. And there I learned from a Scottish pro named Ernie Patterson. And I took my trade from basically there to Europe.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I have a list of places.
Right.
The path took you from Belfast to
Correct.
London to Austria.
Correct.
And while you were in Europe, you coached a baron, which I cannot believe, an actual baron. How does that happen?
I was standing at the golf course in Northern Ireland. I got a phone call from a man called Jimmy McCarthy, who was the head of John Letter's Golf Club, big golf company over in Great Britain, and today it's no longer there. He said, Gerald, how would you like to go to Vienna? And that was in 1971. And that's when 71 and 72 were the very bad years in Northern Ireland for violence. So I said, I'd absolutely love to go to Vienna. He said, well, you got to call this fellow in Dublin, Michael Ferguson. He works at the Vienna Golf Club and he's going to tell you what the job is. So I called this Mike Ferguson and I said, Mike, I'm Gerald McCullagh. I'm apparently going to go to work at Innsfeld Golf and Country Club in Vienna. And he said, so he told me about the job. He said, you're going to work for a baron and a baroness. And you've got some quarters in the castle that you'll live in. So I lived in part of the castle for the 7 years that I was there. And they were interesting people. She was the owner of Avon Cosmetics. She owned Avon Cosmetics. And he was what would I say? He was a bit of a playboy. And in those days, rich American women would go to Europe seeking the title.
Right.
And she married the Baron, who was a real interesting story. He was Coco Chanel's lover during the Second World War.
No, stop.
Yeah.
Seriously? We love Coco.
Yeah. So anyway, these are the stories, but they're all true. And he bought a ski resort called Mittersill. It was a lot of famous people, the Aga Khan, all these people that come to ski there. So she spent during the Second World War, Coco Chanel, living at Mittersill as the Baron's friend.
I mean, I'm just asking for D. Did you grab a bag or something, like a luggage bag?
No, I'd actually go up at the end of my golf season. I'd go up to northern Italy, to Udine and Trieste, and buy my mother some beautiful leather goods.
Oh.
So.
You were a good son.
Oh, always.
Okay. Well, what was that experience like, teaching golf at that level in the world?
Well, it was interesting. It's a whole new life for me. I mean, I met people that I'd never dream of meeting. The people that come, they used to have these huge big backgammon tournaments at the castle. So they come from all over the world to play in there for 3 or 4 days. And so all these, it was originally set up for the royalty of Europe. Families that had were disbanded, the royal titles, but they still had them. So we had lots of people from Hungary, Germany, Switzerland, Poland, Russia, Yugoslavia, all these barons and counts and princesses and firsts and archdukes and so forth. So
And now you're here in Savannah.
that's fine.
I love it.
Hey, listen, I enjoyed that part of my life. I'm back to a small community.
Yeah.
I love it. I love Savannah. I love the golf course, the atmosphere up there. What the pro has done, it brought all the families together. It's a community place for everyone to congregate. Fathers, sons, daughters, mothers, all like playing golf together. You can't beat it.
Oh, I love it. So beyond the names that we've been dropping, all these awesome names, you've developed multiple LPGA Tour players and national champions. So when you look back at that body of your work, what are you most proud of?
I think the most proud thing I had is taking a lot of junior golfers from, say, 9 and starting them work with them for years, and they eventually ended up at universities. Had a young girl, Olivia Lansing, and her sister came to me when they were both, about 12 and 13, and coached the both of them. They both won state high school championships. But Olivia went on to set all records in women's golf in Minnesota. So that was a very proud thing. And the second thing was I coached a touring pro called Tim Herron, and he had come to me on a Sunday night at my golf academy in Minneapolis and said, "Gerald, I'm off to play my first golf tournament. I just need a refresher." And I had all the sophisticated cameras and computers that I used. And he went on and won his first golf tournament, the Honda Open.
And his son, now following in his footsteps.
His son, Carson, who's a wonderful, there was 3 sons, and they'd come to me all in their school uniforms on a Monday afternoon. Tim Herron had this indoor golf academy during the winter, which I ran, and Dee Forsberg worked in it with me. And the both of us would teach a lot of children in there. But the 3 boys that come in their school uniforms, and they're this size, I mean, they're 6, 7, and probably 9. And I'd work with them all during the winters, the years that I worked there, and they all became good golfers. So the most proudest thing I've ever done is to take a kid, coach them for years, and they eventually end up at a top division school. Like a lot of the Gophers during the Gophers won for the first time in history the NCAA championship, and 2 of the students that played in the Gopher team, I coached them. So that I was extremely proud of that. Wilhelm Schumann, who was a Swede, and Matt Anderson, who won the Big Ten individual championship, and he also won the leading score at the end where the Gophers won the NCAA championship. So those are things that I always reminisce about. Not being boisterous, it's just my career.
No. I mean, it really was an investment into the future of young people.
Absolutely.
We do not think you're being boisterous at all. That is something to celebrate. It's just a mentorship, which I can appreciate. So what is the thing that separates players from the ones who make it and the ones who maybe don't go as far? Is it talent, raw talent, or is it something else?
Oh, it's something else. I mean, there's a lot of guys on tour that I would say, at least when I was growing up, they hadn't raw talent at all. But they had disciplined themselves to a point where they had this incredible passion to win. And that's what got them through. I've played in a lot of British PGA tournaments as a young boy at Gallagher's Open and so forth. And I've seen them, watched them in the practice range and so forth. And some of them are good and some of them weren't. But the ones that were really good had this incredible passion that got them to the next leg of their career.
Unbelievable. You eventually made your way to Minnesota.
I did indeed.
To build the Golf Institute.
Correct.
At the University of Minnesota.
Yeah.
We don't even know the legend we have living here as I read this. Over 50 junior golfers went on to play collegiately. Like you said, 2 state high school champions. What was it about Minnesota that became home for so long?
Well, basically my family was all there. My 4 sisters were there. I had gained, obviously, a lot of success in my profession, and that's what kept me there. And then I met a lot of interesting people. I had an incredible book of students. And so those students became my friends, and we flew all over the world playing golf. I'd take them on all these golf trips, and we'd fly out and go to South America or Britain or Ireland or somewhere else. And I'd introduce them to all these courses that I knew over in the British Isles.
You know, as a mom who has a young man playing for Brant Melvin right now on the Savannah golf team, teaching golf for him, I hear him teach the mental game. And so it's as much of a mental game as it is a physical one. I mean, I've watched my student battle, right? So what's the one thing that golfers get wrong when they walk in for a lesson or they're on the course?
I think the expectations are a big thing with children. You know, they're expecting to do better than what they think they can do. So a good golf instructor and coach, you know, a golf instructor explains the technique of the golf swing. A coach is different. He imparts enthusiasm to the student. So you've got a wonderful golf coach up there in Brent. I know him very, very well. He's passionate about these children improving. And I think if a child can sit back and say to himself, look, it's basically a day at a time. I've got to work on certain things on my golf swing like I did as a boy. I'd come home, there was a window at the back of the house. I'd stand there and look at the image of myself swinging the club. And that's what kids need to do. It's not a sport that you can play and be good at, just playing it for 2 months during the summer or the winter. You've got to do it every single day. You've got to do drills, you've got to read books, you've got to watch videos, and that's what all these kids do today.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. We're going to take just a quick break, and I want to tell you about a couple of our sponsors. So Pancakes, Pups, and Suds, Cassie Pancake. You go there, your dog deserves a good bath and a great time. Pancakes makes grooming so easy and fun for you and your pup. She takes Venmo, I love that. She's local, friendly, and they clearly love what they do. So thank you, Cassie, for sponsoring. Also, NCMC, Savannah's campus. If you know someone who's thinking about taking the next step in their education, NCMC in Savannah is a great place to think about that. It's right in our backyard. Affordable, accessible, built for this community. All right, Gerald, so let's talk about golf right now. The sport has absolutely exploded. We have young people on the course. We have women on the course. As someone who spent his whole career growing the game, what do you make of this moment?
I love it. As I said earlier, the wonderful thing that I saw with Savannah is this. They have now mothers and daughters, fathers and sons, grandparents and grandchildren, all walking down or in a cart down that first fairway going up to the top of the hill. They're laughing, they're enjoying themselves. And that's the growth of the game. When you get families participating in the sport, that's what the pro at the golf course has done. That was her objective. I've got to get families and grow the game of golf. And the game of golf has grown exponentially.
Wow, Gerald, you keep saying the pro. Let's talk about her. Dee is your wife. Jeez Louise.
Jeez Louise.
Jeez Louise. Okay, so tell us about Dee, because she's a big deal around here. She's the golf pro at Duncan Hills Golf Course, the summer camps, the junior league. That feels so important for building this next generation of golfers right here in the community. So what does that mean to you personally, to see her involved?
Extremely proud. I mean, she came here with great credentials, played golf at the University of Minnesota.
Is that where you met?
We met, she came to me as a student.
Okay.
So she came to me, she'd heard about me from another lady that I taught, and she said she wanted to get a golf lesson, and so I started instructing her.
Yeah, and you gave her a lesson, all right. You just done and married her.
That I did.
Oh my gosh, she's so sweet.
Oh, Dee's a wonderful,
She's so sweet.
wonderful person.
So for parents and kids listening, how do they find out about Dee? How do they sign up?
Well, what they basically do is there's a telephone number into Duncan Hills Golf Club, the junior programs. She started this incredible program for beginning golfers in a Monday night, and there's 20 or 30 young ladies that are out there playing golf, having a wonderful time that never thought they'd ever play golf in their lives. So you just call the golf shop, you just ask them. She has an assistant, Emily, there, who's very good. Just ask either Dee or Emily, what programs are you running? What are the dates and how do I participate?
Okay, well, I was on the course this spring with the Savannah golf team, and I just said, I don't know how hard this can be. I mean, you pick up a club and you swing it. I mean, isn't it just like putt-putt? I usually go and I just, at the putt-putt, I just hit it as hard as I can.
Is it like putt-putt? Well, not quite.
I usually take the ball and like hit it at a windmill just as hard as I can, just on purpose. But for someone like me who does want to get on the course, Emily Hummer's been really encouraging me to get out there. What is a really good advice, some piece of advice that you would give me? I'm starting later in life.
Yeah.
My arms and the rocking knees probably don't work as well as they used to.
Listen, I started a lot of lady golfers. I worked at a country club in Minneapolis where the majority of women all played tennis. So they couldn't run like they used to. So every one of them decided, well, we're giving up tennis and we're going to come down and take golf up. So I taught lots of women, middle-aged women, and got them on the golf course and got them breaking 100, which was a big, big achievement to do. And now they're enjoying golf. So my recommendation to you is this. You start with small swings and build up to a full swing. Learn how to putt first, chip, and then go into your full swing. So...
Are you coming out of retirement for me?
No. The problem is I don't really teach much anymore. And the reason being...
He said much, so that means there's still hope for me.
is because I don't have the equipment that I use, the television sets, the high-speed cameras, and the computers and so forth. So
which you'd use those at a time when... I don't know if that technology was really popular.
I had a really advanced golf academy. It was at Rush Creek Golf Club. I brought in a guy from Chicago to set up all the electronic equipment. And it was a way advanced. There was 3 cameras that you could see 3 angles of your body on, a V1 teaching system, and then a buried monitor on the floor where you can look down and watch your swing without having to lift your head.
Unheard of back then.
Yeah, so it was incredible. And this Don Croak came in from Chicago. He had built some systems for my friend, Dr. Jim Sutty, and he came up and took him about a week to put it all together, but it was way ahead of its time. But now it's obsolete they've got all this different technology today with TrackMan and so forth. So
tell me about retirement. What are you doing in retirement?
Well, I'm doing a lot of golf reading still. In retirement, I go down to McCullough Golf Club. A lot of people I know that are there and hang around there, do a few beginning ladies golf clinics with another pro who's retired, and try to spend a lot of time in the summer going to the Twin Cities because I have 2 children and 4 grandchildren. And so I spend time with them and then meet all my old friends.
I love that. Okay, I'm going to let you name drop a little bit more. Anybody else that we just have to throw out there that you have either mentored, that you've known? Give us some names. We're curious up here in Savannah.
Oh, no. I mean, the most famous lady golfer I ever taught was Betsy King. Betsy King was the first lady golfer, I think, to reach $1 million mark. She came up, she lived in Arizona. She was a very good friend of one of the golf instructors that worked with me up there, a Welsh girl, Karen, and Karen and her were good friends, and Karen told her to come up to the golf academy, and so she'd come up there, take lessons, and then in the winter I go down to Phoenix, Arizona and teach her down there it lasted I think about 3 years. But she was a wonderful gal, a Hall of Fame lady golfer, probably one of the best known lady golf professionals in the world. So she was one, and then I had an opportunity to walk about 3 or 4 holes with Michael Jordan at a Pro-Am. So the fellow that sponsored it, Ralph Burnett, who owned Burnett Realty, they had the Pro-Am at Rush Creek, and he said, come over and meet Michael Jordan. So I went over and Michael Jordan. He said, where are you from? I said, Ireland's my favourite place in the world to play golf, Gerald. He says, come and walk with me. And he was the nicest guy in the world.
Was he so tall?
Oh, tall.
You were looking up.
Good golfer, but really nice person. You know, no airs or graces.
I love that. So you got a name drop. These are good stories. Good stories. Well, great conversation.
Oh, thank you for having me. Yeah. I mean that. I love Savannah. I love the community. I like St. Joseph because I live down there, but you know, I come up and help Dee a lot of the golf tournaments at the golf course and put my time in helping her volunteer work.
Well, that brings up, before I let you go, what do you want people in this community to know?
Oh, that's a great question. I think they've just got to know that everything's working well. I love the town square. You know, as a little boy growing up in Ireland, I used to look at these American squares that were in, which we never had over in Ireland. And I just thought, wow, that looks fabulous, the American flag and the huge big automobiles that you had. I mean, we had Morris Minors, were pint-sized little cars. We looked like the Beverly Hillbillies going out, all my family in one of them. But the community here is wonderful. It's progressive. People are trying to do things different. And that's what I love about Savannah.
I love
progress.
That. Gerald, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Quite an honor today.
My pleasure.
Again, Gerald, we want to thank him for being with us today and for being on 3994. Everybody go find Dee at Duncan Hills. Get your kids signed up for summer camps and junior league. You will not be disappointed. And get out on the course. I'm talking to myself too. So that's a wrap on today's episode. A huge thank you to all of our sponsors. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review on Apple, and share it with someone in our community. We are all part of Northwest Missouri's story, and it starts right here on the 3994. I'm Jody O'Brien. Until next time.